Hi there, I'm Dani Henderson. Welcome back to my full disclosure of everything channel. There isn't a subject on the planet that I don't go near. And trust me, today's subjects are very, very exciting, important. And we're going to start with one that's really, really sad and has upset thousands and thousands of people. And that is the very sad passing of James Rink, also known as James Ring. And James Ring was a interesting, controversial, dedicated character. We didn't always get on, but sending so much love to his friends and supporters and his family right now. And Beverli Rhodes here in the screen with me also knew James because Beverli Rhodes was also in a secret space program, as James Ring also was. So, Beverly, would you like to say a few words because you knew James personally too?
Yeah. Well, the last time I had any discussions with him was in 2023. So, and he was a busy chap, very open about things. We just used to compare notes about what I knew, what I was seeing, what he was seeing, and that was it really, which was great. And I really just sent heartfelt energies out to his family and his friends because, he was a larger than life person. So he's really going to be missed. I'm really sorry to hear of his passing.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. And hopefully it won't stop other people coming out. Hopefully it will give them more courage to come out and share their stories that are so important. The realities of this planet, this world, there's so much hidden from the masses that we all have to bring the information through. There's Michael Salla. I'm recording with him and JP later today also.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they're obviously very upset to hear about James. And I recorded with Kerry Cassidy. That's coming out tomorrow. By the time this broadcast goes out, Kerry Cassidy will also play. There is a piece of video that I showed recently with Kerry Cassidy interviewing Max Spears and
Oh,
a
wow.
colleague of his, I forget his name, and James was doing the camera work. So there's so many people that, get overlooked. They've been in the field of disclosure for decades, literally. And it's definitely a time for everyone to unify, and come together
I
and
agree.
bring out more and more secrets. So, Beverly Rhodes, again, your background is so extensive in the things that you've endured and reported on and revealed, and we'll come back to you more during this broadcast. But for now, we are going to focus on AKWANA Tucker, who is part of the tribe, the Muscogee tribe in Florida. Will you introduce yourself again, my love, and share what your passion is for the Bigfoot or the Alowan and why are they called the Alowan?
Right. So thank you, Danny. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm Akwana. I'm a member of the Muscogee Nation of Florida, as you said. I am a member of the council as well. And I just try to do my best to bring some awareness to our native and indigenous cultures and practices and beliefs as well. I do have a long running connection with the Alowan, also known, most people would know it as the Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, but they're actually a little bit different. If you think of like the Yeti, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, they're all kind of cousins in the same family, but they are all a little bit different. So I've sort of had a connection on and off with these. I guess they reference them as cryptids since I was about 8 years old, and it's just kind of continued and built over that. But we've built a great rapport. The ones that I have that live nearby me, and so yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, your internet is a bit weak, and you just joked about it being the Indian
Oh,
internet, but because
it's Indian internet, y'all.
it's Indian internet, y'all. Love your accent. So we'll just do the best we can. And
Okay.
thank you. I know it's so frustrating. We did a drop with you a while ago on my channel here where you were showing us the beautiful museum that is on the reservation that you live, and your mother is the chief, isn't she?
Correct. That is correct. Yeah, she's been our the chief of our tribe now for over 25 years, and she's been fighting for our tribe's recognition. So, yeah, she's an amazing person. She really is a very strong warrior for the natives.
That's so beautiful. And I love that she's representing for so long, decades again, in the work to show the truth and reality and to be recognized. We can't imagine that there's still species, abhorrent, monstrous species that try to prevent humanity from saying, hey, I'm an indigenous being. Oh dear, I have to calm myself down there. So you've been fighting in the courts as a tribe to demand recognition, and you guys are so polite. I so would not be as polite as you're all being. But where are we today, currently, with the situation of being recognized?
So right now we have a response that we're working on for our federal petition that is about 95% ready to go. So we've just got that last little percent. We'll send that up to them, to the Office of Federal Acknowledgement. They're the ones who determine if we are a, native tribe worthy of being federally recognized. And then if they have questions, they will send those back. If they don't have questions, they will go ahead and make a determination on us, which we've been waiting for since the 1970s. So it's been a long time coming. So we're very close to at least getting an answer, hopefully.
Well, very close after only 35 years or so. It's insanity, isn't it? It's just absolute insanity.
It is.
Because the wrong systems have obviously always been in place. The wrong dominance has been allowed. The wrong leaders, the self-appointed, self-anointed also. And I'm so happy that everything is being taken down. And I know it's taking time, guys, and I know it's bumpy. But one of the things here as well is about the unification. One of the last times I saw James Ring in person was on September the 19th, 2025. And one of the things he said to me was, Dani, we all need to come together and to unify like all of us. And he's so right. Of course he is. We know that. So I think it's a really good time to, for people to really, really like just get with the reality that people that have been suppressing your tribe for decades and people that make decisions for all of us or are just the wrong uns. They're the wrong uns, and we've got to really step up more and support each other. And I want, if anyone's out there, with a wallet and some oomph behind them that cares about the indigenous natives here, please, for goodness sake, step forward. You can be anonymous if you need to be, but isn't it time some of the wallets just stepped forward and said, hey, here you go. Let me help you. Let me support you. What can I do for you? What do you need? Because largely, unfortunately, it's going to be money, isn't it? It's going to be funding something to get right lawyers, right legal representation forward in these events. Well, this is the year 2025. There's been way more disclosure this year. We're going into 26. There'll be even more. Of course there will. By definition, we the people are pushing it now. Talking of revelations, let us go into your previous or recent connection with the Alowan. I want you to talk us through where you were and what you were doing with Beverli Rhodes in the underground or in the area of Florida. Where is this, please?
Okay, so this is at an area in Bruce, Florida, where the tribe is centrally located. And this area is called Dead River. What's interesting about it is the road into to the river is essentially a portal. So when you go in, it feels like it takes you 20, 30 minutes to go in. But then when you leave, the road exiting is actually on the edge of that portal. So it feels like it takes about a minute and a half to leave. So that's where this was filmed. It's where a lot of the Alowan do tend to congregate, if you will. It's one of those places that when you're there, you can feel the energies watching you. And so what Ben and I decided to do was we just decided to see if we could make that connection with them because we had heard a very loud call that was not one of our regular typical animals or anything like that. So then we decided to knock on the trees because they are known to do that. And when we did, they would respond in kind, knocking the same amount of times that we did. And
Okay.
they did this about 5 or 6 times.
I'm sorry. Did you see me jumping around there? I was trying to bring up, I'm just assuming you can see everything I can see. So
Mhm.
let me try that again, Aquana. I'm so sorry.
Sure,
Um, okay, this is the picture that we're on. Okay, let's continue.
sure.
Okay, let me show the next one. Sorry. Okay, wasn't this where you crossed over to the island? There's an island because this is where the Alowan are gathering, right?
Correct. So across the river, there is a little central island location, and the because of all the debris that falls from the trees and things like that, the to get into the water is very muddy. I mean, you go through about that deep of mud. So they tend to stay on the opposite side of the river where people aren't going, but you can feel them. And if you see them, they have an energetic signature that is very sparkly, almost like golds and white sparkles, and that's how you can tell. And it's usually about 9 feet in the air, and you can kind of tell that's when they're there. And then that's usually when I try to engage with them, and they are typically very responsive. And this particular trip, they were knocking back, and then at one point they had stopped knocking, and then they threw a rock behind Bev into the water that like scared her half to death. I think she dropped an S bomb on that one, but
Wow. Yeah.
no,
It's behind. It was behind this area. Oh my God.
Yeah. It frightened the hell out of me.
Yeah.
yeah, her, yeah, it
They've thrown
scared her
something.
pretty
They've
bad.
definitely
But
thrown something, but I don't know what it was. But it was behind me.
It's so
Oh,
great
man.
you captured this. So not only are you knocking on the trees and the Alowan or the Bigfoot are knocking back,
Yeah.
but one of them throws something and scares the life out of Bev.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it landed just like that far away from her. So it was purposefully thrown to just get her attention and say, like, we're
I
back
think you see
behind you
where
now.
that
Please stay ahead.
formation is over there. I think it was coming from that area.
Let's just go back. That's just too good.
Yeah, I jumped feet, and we heard the knocking. There was the knocking,
Right,
and
let's keep it
AKWANA knocked.
Wow. Yeah. It's behind. It was behind this area. Oh my God. Yeah.
By that time, I was desperately looking to see where the hell
They've
is
thrown
that. I've got
something.
to
They've
see.
definitely thrown something, but I don't know what it was. But it was behind me. Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, beautiful. I think that was the bird. I think you see where that formation is over there. I think it was coming from that area, and it went plop.
Yeah,
From that side.
it did. That was cool.
That was.
And then what we did with the film, we when we went back,
We've come to say goodbye.
yeah,
I've got to go home. Come and see you again next year. What the hell was that?
That was the bat.
Was it a bat? I thought it was a bat. But yeah, they're very good though.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
Bye, guys.
All right, let's get in for the gators.
Get in for the gators. Get out. Okay.
That's funny.
So we did send the footage to Lou, and she was very good. She did frame by frame by frame by frame, and she managed to enhance the sound. So in the beginning, when AKWANA's going to the tree to answer, she'd actually picked up the sound in the footage. You can actually hear them banging on the tree. So she said there's definitely that sound, and she picked it all up because we thought, well, if she can pick it up, that'll be fantastic to add it into to show where it is. But yeah, she did. She was able to find all the information, which was really good.
Brilliant. It's so wonderful to have evidence, physical evidence. It's so important. So we wanted to mention that also your beautiful connection to the Alowan, and again to repeat that, there's some people that call them skunk apes because in Florida they go hunting them in the swamps, and it's just so disrespectful. But because they're a slightly smaller, potentially, although it doesn't really sound like they're smaller, um, people don't seem to understand because there's not enough information always that they are multi-dimensional beings, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah, so it's they are referenced as the skunk ape, and that's usually due to the smell that people say that they have. But what I've noticed is people getting that smell tend to be hunters. So I believe it's more of a defensive mechanism that they're able to put up, because when I have had encounters, I haven't had that smell or anything like that. So I don't reference them as skunk apes or anything like that, because it just feels to me like a bit insensitive and kind of rude. What I will say about there are differences. Like I said, they're kind of cousins in the same family, but the ones in Florida that I've seen tend to be, they are a bit smaller, even though that's not very small. And they have a lighter color, at least the female and the babies have a lighter colored hair, almost like a golden blonde with little flecks throughout it. They're very beautiful. I did recently, and this was in the last 3 weeks or so, I finally saw the male Alowan. And we've had two tribal members that had previously seen him. He's a bit darker than she is, but I kind of caught him off guard, and he wasn't expecting me. And so then he immediately kind of like disappeared behind a tree. But because they are interdimensional, they can cloak themselves very quickly. But I caught him off guard, which was really kind of cool because I've never gotten to see him before. So it was really awesome. But I just went on my way. Like, I'm not gonna bother you and harass you because he didn't want to be found, you know? So I just kept driving. But that was really, really an interesting thing. And the Alowana, Florida are, from what I've experienced, they tend to be a lot more playful than, say, a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, which some people have fears around those. Ours, as you could see with the knocking and all that, they were playing back and forth for a while. Then they threw the rock at Bev, well, not at her, but near her. Just they've they seem to have a bit better, like a more fun kind of attitude and all that. And they are playful, I believe, when it's somebody that they trust. You know, I think if you were a hunter and you came up on them with a weapon, I don't think they would be as friendly.
Yeah, it makes sense as well, and it's quite lovely to hear of the absolute stench, the putrid stench that they emit, like a skunk, to say, you stay away from me, and it's lovely that you can confirm that because you've had so much interaction for years. They leave the little flower glyphs and wood glyphs that they make for you
They
as
do.
a gift. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So, what I do is I regularly leave food out for them just as a sign of respect, and just because I know that they're there. And the food is always taken, it's always removed. But usually, what I'll find nearby where I've left that will be little wooden carvings. Sometimes they have faces or animals in them, or sometimes they leave like broken off flowers, and they're flowers that don't grow in my area where I'm at. So they've obviously picked them and brought them and left them for me. And I actually started leaving them flowers because I realized they actually like to eat the flowers. So for them, it was by leaving those flowers, it's a way of them saying, thank you for the food. We're leaving you something as well, which is really interesting. But the recently of within the last couple of months, the most interesting gift that I received was a folded piece of red felt that was just folded into four corners. And it's fascinating because the way that I got the felt, I actually really needed it to make my medicine pouches, and I was out of red felt. And it was just bothering me all morning. So I went outside the council house where I'm at now, and I was just thinking about it, like, I really got to get this red felt, but I don't want to have to drive like 30, 45 minutes to go pick it up. And I heard someone, and I knew that the Alowan was nearby because I'd seen the shimmery energy. And I heard her say, turn around and look. So I turn around and I look, and about that far from where I'm standing on the ground is a folded red piece of felt, folded four ways, just waiting for me. This is not the actual piece because I've used that for the medicine bags that I was doing, but the piece that was left behind when you held it up against the sunlight was really thin, and you could tell it must have been at least 50 years old. So I don't know how long she had been hanging on to that. It was probably left by one of my ancestors or my relatives as an offering. And then she returned it to me the very day I needed red felt. And I had just walked by where it was left. It was not there. It just was put there. It was amazing. So I left. I then ended up leaving candies. I left some ribbons and several other things, flowers, and those were all taken the next day.
Oh, it's just so
So
wonderful. It's so
very
wonderful.
awesome.
You know, and for any skeptic that's saying, oh, that's humans doing it, whatever. But, you know, talk about the shimmering, the energy signature, the signature frequency that you've come to recognize over these years.
So what it looks like to me, it's usually about 8 or 9 feet in the air. And it looks like if you were to throw gold glitter in the air, the way that sparkles as it's coming down, it looks like that, but you see it in the silhouette. And then you can see it move. And then it'll be over here. And then you'll see that. And sometimes what it's accompanied with is the energy will be there. And then there's no wind or anything. And you've got just one piece of a branch or something that's just swinging like crazy because of the energy that's coming off. And you can tell that's being caused by this. So they do have a very distinct energetic signature that's very tall. I have seen them in their physical form as well, but that's one way. If they don't want to actually appear, they just show that signature to let me know, like, hey, we're here. I usually sense them before I ever see it, though, which is pretty neat because they do communicate telepathically. They are interdimensional beings, and they can communicate telepathically. We all can. We just don't exercise and practice to where we can do that regularly. But I've been doing it for a while, and yeah, it works. It works. That's how they communicate, and they're very interesting.
I love it. I'm so glad your internet's holding. Normally, as you know, when I am interviewing or sharing time with people, I like to have them on full screen so we can totally focus on them. But when I put you on full screen, you're pixelating more so we can see your beautiful face more,
Okay.
just to let you know. I really love and trust your intel on the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, Abominable Snowman, and, the Alowan, so many different names. And I also trust the information from Sunbow True Brother. He spoke at my first ever JISIC conference. I could only get him on Zoom because he lives like 8 hours into the bush in Canada, and has recently built a house inside, and he captures on camera so many amazing wildlife, and he's so gifted. And he was one that from 17 years old has had physical contact, and one such time, because they call them clans, the families are referred to as clans. Now for him it's a Sasquatch because he was on the Sasquatch River, and so one time he was surrounded by 15 physical Sasquatch clan, led by
Oh
a
wow.
feminine grandmother. He has one masculine that I forget the name. It begins with a ku. It's like Kumu, something like that. And this one telepathically responds to Sunbow True Brother, who is a pale skinned Canadian, a French Canadian, who was gifted the name Sunbow True Brother by the beautiful indigenous because they recognize his connection to these beautiful beings. And he's again shared that they're multidimensional. They have craft. They have
Yeah.
UFOs. You can call them spacecraft. Yeah, it's lovely to kind of bring all the information together. The other person whose information I trust on Bigfoot, for example, is a man called Chris O'Connor. He's also spoken at my conference. He came to stay with me in Costa Rica a few years ago now. We were doing some deep memory because he's a secret space program soldier. And we were covering some memory with him because I'm trained in that area also. And I'd already had like spiritual connection and my one was blonde. And I couldn't see, I stand on physical evidence, so I don't speak much about it but it's so lovely to hear about the shimmering and the spiritual and the, so my one, she was blonde, and I'm like, are you kidding me? She's blonde, because I'm blonde. So hear about, but you mentioned they're blonde and they're golden there too. So I
They
had
are.
yeah, I had this interaction with this beautiful, and she said, "My name is She Bear," and it was so beautiful. Anyway, Chris O'Connor came to stay for this few days for his, his recovery, memories recovery. And the first night he woke up, he was in the spare room. He went, "Do you know there are Sasquatch all around here, or Bigfoot all around here?" And I'd heard, and I'd not just the monkeys, the howler monkeys in Costa Rica, because they're so loud. I wondered, but I didn't know. I couldn't prove that the knocking and the howling that I was hearing was, the Bigfoot. And he said that four of them looked in the window at him. I was delighted. Yes, I was so happy, because you do need these confirmations rather than make these extraordinary claims. So yeah, so he's another person whose information I trust on this subject of these beautiful multi-dimensional beings. Now, Bev, you also have, of course, had long-term kind of tenure with these beautiful beings. Can you share an element of that part of you with us, please?
Well, the longer term was on the farm that I had in South Africa. There was one that used to make a lot of noise. Down at the bottom of the property was a very small river, one of the few rivers that doesn't have bilharzia or anything in it. And we often used to go down to the river with the horses to get them to, going because it's very hot, and then bring them back up again. And they were always, on alert. How horses are, their little ears go forward and you think, oh, and the noses start flaring, and they were always looking on the other side of the river, and I thought there must be something there. And they were always getting very skittish, and they were wanting to turn around, put their tails in the air and get back to the stables. So one of those days they decided, no, we're not going anywhere near. We are not going near this river. We're going back. So we ended up being dragged back because they were not going to go anywhere near the water. That very night ended up having lots of noise out the back. And it was out where all the long bins were. And there was a very big water tank that stored the water for like the laundry and kitchen and that. And that had been knocked off, and there was this ruddy great huge furry thing, and I thought, what on earth is that now? And I looked out the back window, which was the kitchen, it looks onto where the big drums were with all the water in it, and it turned and looked at me directly, and I thought, good Lord, that's the biggest ape I've ever seen. But then I realized, having a look for where I was and looking down on where the barrels were, the barrels themselves were nearly 8-foot barrels. And it was just standing there, putting its hand in the barrel and taking out a drink. And I thought, hang on, that's an 8-foot barrel. It can just very easily just, pop its hand in and take a drink out of it. So that was a really, really big one. And then I realized that I don't know if it was a he or she, was coming down, getting fresh water, but also having a look to see, because we used to store the vegetables in the laundry. And it used to go in and help itself. So I go out to the laundry in the next morning, and there's bits of cabbages and bits of cauliflower and bits of potatoes. And I say, look, come and choose what you like, mate, but don't leave it in such a state that we've got to spend the next 2 hours putting everything back in boxes. But yeah, he used to come down and see what he could forage, and it was a favorite foraging place. So it became the done thing. Eventually I said, just put a little stool there. Put vegetables on the stool so that when he has his drink from the barrel, he can pick up his shopping and take it back up to the hill. I know, pick up his shopping. And I think that the people that worked on the farm, they were very good. They're also indigenous individuals, and they lived sort of towards the right, and they had a boma and the big fire in the middle, and that's where it was. And they had said they were perfectly aware of him. They called him a him, and they said he always used to come down, and they would also leave offerings in like a calabash. So that's that pot, which is it's like a gourd, where they've carved it out of a gourd, and they take the calabash and they put they'd put items of offerings into them, and once they left some puza, so they left it's a drink, very strong drink that they make from fermented fruit. So they
Oh,
left a
yikes.
little, yeah, it's a bit like moonshine or something, and they left the one small one, and then they had the calabash with the food in it, and both were gone. And they just wondered how did, not much, I mean just a little bit, and they wondered how that one coped with both the food and the drink. It should have been very funny. But yeah, he used to come down to the house quite often actually to have a look, because he knew where all the veggies were kept.
That is just incredible. Thank you. It's great to again connect, and hear all of the proven like the stories and testimonies. And just while we're on the aspect of kind of trusted sources, there's a couple of men, Michael Harrell and Brian. I'm sorry, Brian, I can't remember your last name. Oh, but they have a YouTube channel and Facebook gathering, and it's called Pork and Beans. And
Oh.
they're Americans or Canadian Americans, and they are so fun. And I know Brian in particular talks about his connection to the Sasquatch, and again, being very multidimensional. The fact that they can, because they can cloak
Mm.
and be
Oh, yes.
invisible, that
Yeah.
they have been felt and seen in apartment buildings and all kinds of things. So we always tend to imagine they're only out there in the bush, in the jungle, in the forest. Go ahead, Aquana.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say I had one that when I was in a hotel room, it was my friend. She had followed me there, pops up in my hotel room, and I think she was just showing like, oh, look how tall I am or something, because she put her hand directly on the ceiling just to show me like, oh, look at that. I'm like, what are you doing here, girl? Like, so I know they do not just stick to the woods. But yeah, she popped in and she was just kind of making her hands walk across the ceiling for a second, and then she was gone. I think she was just letting me know, she was just checking in on me or something like that. But it was very funny. So no, they do not just stay in these remote locations because they can transport themselves so quickly. And you hit it right on the head when you said about the cloaking. Because when I surprised the male Alowan in my woods, as soon as his face turned, immediately just cloaked behind a tree, and then you couldn't see any outline of him at all. So I felt bad that I had just sort of surprised him. So I just kept going and just acted like I didn't see him. But yeah, he was a little taken aback. Like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, what are you doing here, man? We're both here,
I
you
love
know? So yeah, so I let him have his space and all that, but he did cloak very quickly. It was amazingly fast.
That's so great. So with the Pork and Beans channel with Michael and Brian, again, working with the kind of more spiritual aspect of, the cloaking and the spiritual and telepathic one-to-one experiences that they've had, that I find a trusted source. And they've got a massive gathering of other people there who also share their stories, whether they're physical sightings or spiritual, cloak sightings, multidimensional sightings. The other girl, or the other person that I've watched over the years, and she appears a lot on Shanti's channel on Aquarius Africa Rising, is a girl called, well, she's known as the Cryptid Huntress. And she's got dark hair and a really kind of soulful voice, like a gravelly, you could imagine her being an amazing jazz singer. She's got one of those voices. I can't remember her name. Is it Christine? Anyway, she's been around for a long time, and I've caught many of her broadcasts over the years. And she has a lot of information also on cryptids, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, too. So I would advise people that don't know are looking for sources to find more information out that. I think that the Cryptid Huntress is also a good source of real, true, honest information, because obviously we want to make sure that we advise on the people telling the truth and not those who are kind of living in La La Land, of which there are many, and that's all right too. We all make up, this human pool of interesting beings. So, Aquan, I'm going to come
That's
back to you. I want you to tell us about the oak tree situation that occurred on the reservation.
Okay, so we had a very significant storm that it knocked down one of the oak trees that's in my particular yard. And this oak tree is about 4 feet across. That's not wrapping around the tree. That's just across the edge of it when it's cut down. And this tree fell, but it was falling in the direction of my house. And at the last minute as it was falling, the Alowan that I know the best, and she's told me her name is Sisket. So if you that's who I'm referencing. So Sisket at the last minute pushed the end of the tree away from the house, and it landed this far from the edge of the house from taking out the roof. And this is a massive tree. So it gives you an idea of the size and strength of these beings. They are incredibly large, incredibly strong. But it just goes to show you that if you are on the light side, if you are on the right side of things, they can energetically recognize that and they will help you. And they're not out to be aggressive unless that's the energy that you're sending towards them. But it was just amazing. She saved the house from being hit by this massive tree. But then when we had the tree removers come to remove I mean, it's huge. They cut across the base of the tree, which ended up, like I said, being about 4 feet across. And when they cut across the base of the tree in white, just like the color of Sisket's hair, in white is the outline and face of an Alowan, as if to for her to say, like, yeah, I helped you out. Like, here you go, I did that. And it's amazing. It's amazing the things that they do, that they leave behind as signs. I mean, and I would just encourage anybody that would like to maybe encounter them or something to just always go in with an open attitude, a loving, kind energy, and just be open to that. And you never know. I mean, if they get a good feeling, they may show up. But yeah, this one, she's very cool. We're like, I mean, I want to call her my friend. She'd probably be like, ah, that's that human, but she at least moved the tree from the house. So that's pretty cool. I left her a lot of presents, not gonna lie. I left her tons of gifts. Like, thank you for saving the house. It was just awesome.
Yeah,
She's very cool.
you said that the width of that tree was at least 4 foot across.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, wrapping around diameter, I mean, you're probably 10 to 12 feet around the whole of the tree. It's just a massive tree to fall. And all of it, you could tell, was coming towards the house and got shoved back. And it ended up scraping some of the cedar tree next to it, which has somehow also miraculously survived. Should not be alive right now. But cedar's a sacred plant to us. So I think she knew that as well. She's like, all right, let's just save the house, save the cedar. And yeah, and just left her image on the tree, which is very cool. So it's actually a really nice flat offering space now,
I love
which
it.
is good.
So wonderful. Let's again, I never shy away from subjects, and people will be looking at you, AKWANA, and going, "Well, she's very pale for an indigenous Indian."
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
obviously the native Indian. So let's address that. So tell us, please,
Yeah.
how your beautiful heritage came to be.
Okay, so we have as one of the five civilized, that's their terminology, not mine, one of the five civilized tribes. That means that we were able to adopt the white people customs early on to integrate that and to blend it. So we have been intermarried with like the Irish for hundreds of years. And it was interesting because especially in the United States, like nobody wanted the Irish people, but nobody wanted the natives either. So we found common ground there, and we married one another, and that just continued. My great grandfather was like pure Irish, with the it's just so we are more light skinned. In particular, I can get dark if I choose to be out in the sun. However, I am very, very aware of skin cancer. So if you see me outside, I am always looking for the nearest shady spot because it is Florida. This sun beats down, and you will find me in the shade. So I purposefully, my mom always used to get on to me because she is the chairwoman of the tribe, and we'd have functions, and she'd just go, "Could you please just get out in the sun?" Because she's really brown. She is. I'm like, "No, I don't want skin cancer. I'm good." So mine's a little bit more purposeful, but I like to be extra cautious. But we have married him with Irish for a long, long time. So our genetics are a little bit more pale, but you find other tribes that may have never been. And if you look at the East Coast, we were introduced to white people first. So you find more pale people on the East Coast, but then as you get to the West Coast, they weren't affected until way later, like late 1800s. So they were able to stay married to each other, and they do tend to be a bit darker than Eastern tribes. So that's also plays a role, is the timing of the infiltration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Again, just addressing all the obvious, and giving more of the history. And talking of history,
Hey, I mean, that's all right. If they want to hate, I'm not going to have skin cancer, so it's going to be great. That's all right.
you're sitting inside the museum, which people can actually come and visit at the reservation, right?
Yes, absolutely. Our tribe just recently got a grant funding awarded to us for a 3-year project to finish our museum up. And so we're located in Bruce, Florida, and I'm out here. I work here at the museum, and I'm out here from Tuesday through Saturday from 9 until 5. Anybody's welcome to come by and see me if you're in the area. And we do have an incredible museum. We've got an original dugout canoe. We've got original clan poles and all sorts of artifacts that have been around here. An old one of our old medicine makers from the 1800s. We've got his it was a big piece of cypress that he would make his medicine on, and we have that with the mortar and pestle. So we've got a lot of really neat things out here to come see.
I love it. And it's Bruce, Florida.
Yes.
We did a broadcast together, the three of us, a while ago as well, where you actually gave us a tour of the museum. So that's there on my channel, this channel, you guys. And also, I guess we could show people how to, when you go to someone's YouTube channel, if they have like I always have one of my conference little promos playing. So that's the first thing that pops up. But all you have to do is click on the tab that says videos. Then everyone's videos drop down. Then you look at the little search icon and then put put Beverli Rhodes' name in, Beverly with an I, not a Y. And then all the videos that we've done will pop up, and the one with the AKWANA is there with the museum, just so people can kind of, go and look at that and get more, into the work that you two are doing. And speaking of the work you're doing, you will both be in England for a conference that's coming up. It's the Miles Johnston Conference. It's called the Bases Project, and that is down in Pewsey in England, a little beautiful ancient historical area. And it's the 12th to the 14th of December. Beverli Rhodes is speaking on the 14th of December at the event, and you'll be doing a live experiment. I'll come to you in a second. First of all, we just want to mention that Brad Olson will also be there. Yeah. Tina Bird will also be there. AKWANA will be there. There will be other people there too. A lady that talks to the trees, which is absolutely fascinating. We'll come back to her in a second. But Bev, give us an insight into what you're planning to do at this great event.
So on the Sunday, I've got a 90-minute slot, but we've been given early access to the conference room, and we're going to create a vibration in the room, which will be one of the Zener cards. So it will definitely be an energetic symbol, will be floating around energetically as a vibration in the room. And during that entire discussion, I will be pushing that energy out, and I have a number of helpers as well that will also be standing on the sides of the audience, and they will also be sending out the same energy. It's an experiment to see how many individuals can pick up that energy and understand out of all of the Zenokars, which is the one that we're pushing, which is the one we're focusing on, and pushing that out into the vibration. And we are hoping that that vibration will bounce off the walls of each side of the big conference hall. And then at the end of it, we will say, this is the one. How many people got this particular symbol? Because this is the one that's been in the room since early in the morning on Sunday. So it's quite exciting. It's something that I did in the late 70s in Sun City at the Super Bowl, which was a few thousand people, and I did the same thing with a great success, because over 80% of the audience, over 2,500 people, they actually picked up the right image, the one that we were talking about, the one that we had placed into the room with the energy. And what was interesting then is we'd actually taken a Zeno card and we'd stuck the Zeno cards all over the room underneath areas, and then we had spotter girls that were then taking the image off and revealing where they had been stuck to the walls in the Super Bowl. And then all you heard in the audience was, oh, I got it right, because that energy had been there. And it's just proving that our energies can actually move into things. It can be into material, it can be in wood, it can actually carry through, and it can carry through for centuries. So it's just a demonstration of evidence of this is what energy is all about. So I'll be doing that on the Sunday.
That's going to be so good. Brilliant.
Awesome.
We mentioned that there's a lady who is a tree talker. I don't know her name. Do you know her name?
I would have to look it up. She's on the pamphlet. It begins with an M. I think it's Marika, something like that. She's from Holland. I was lucky enough to meet her when I went down to meet Miles and a couple of the other speakers, because we were looking at the venue to see, what does it look like? You know what you do before you go for a conference. And I just was very lucky to have a little bit of a discussion with her, and she was telling me the work that she did with the trees and how she's able to talk to the trees and hear them and how they call to her. Absolutely fascinating. So she'll also be talking there on I think one of the days. I can't remember which day, but she's going to be doing a tree talk.
Excellent. I had Mars Johnston on my channel last week. We did an interview together, and we also spoke about Max Spears, who I never met, but you actually met him too, and Miles and he were friends also.
Yes, I
Um,
believe so.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, no, Miles has done loads of interviews with Max, because Miles Johnston's been around a long time. Another tenured, dedicated individual to the disclosure and supporting people. And then last week I had Kerry Cassidy on my channel because, unfortunately I've been advised wrongly to stay away from people, and I wish I'd never listened, but I didn't know that I was being controlled. But it's all right. It's parts and elements of growing as an individual human
Mm.
soul as well, because it doesn't matter. I could be Clear Bloody Petra, right? And I could have all these skills and talents and this and that, but I could still be a bit of a bitch as a human and have some work to do, right? It
Exactly.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whatever you've got, whoever you're connected to, do the work, do the shadow work. Do not try and skip it. Otherwise, you're going to end up bouncing off a few walls. But my point is, so now I'm really enjoying, like, I'm reaching out to so many people that I hadn't before, because I was told they're the CIA, the FBI, they're dark, they're reptilian, they're grey. I'm more akin to think that the people I was, connected with, there, here and there, were more kind of energy wise, to
Mm.
that. Anyway, regardless, again, I don't want to cause issues and more pain in my own life and upset. But I really am enjoying connecting and with Miles and also with Kerry Cassidy, another long tenured disclosure person
Mm.
who took risks and risked her life. And that
Yep.
video will be out by the time this one comes out. And I said to her when I sat with her, I said, I'm so pleased to meet you. And it was Laura Eisenhower, the former president of America, his great granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower, who connected me with Kerry Cassidy. I met with Laura last night, actually, her and George Lewis. We did an astrology drop for December.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, so Laura's very talented in astrology, very much so, lots of areas of talent with her. When I sat in front of Kerry, I'm like, so, have you seen any of the work I've done? She's like, no. And I thought, thank God. Now she's not trying to find out that I'm a bit of a spicy cow, been a bit outspoken. I'm like, oh, thank God. Hopefully she'll be cool. But you never know. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I wish I hadn't said this. And but I think there's like an atoning, and the word atone is also like the at one with, like the recognizing, where you might have where I might have fluffed up in the past. I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to make everything just, right, in areas that, but I think it's okay. I think as long as we take responsibility for being a muppet here and there, and being genuine and apology, that I think that people can kind of move on and soften and just be more gracious in their acceptance, because, I am totally devoted to this mission and to disclosure and to sharing all the beautiful people and all their truths. And, so yeah, so Bev, what are your thoughts on some of the information that we've discussed today and what I've just said?
I think it's time now. I believe that a lot of light is being shone onto all sorts of areas, and it's one of those. Sorry to coin the phrase, but it's you have to feel it to heal it, and this is what is happening with the light that is coming down in particular areas. People are going to start feeling it. Even people that are not used to feeling things, or people that are walking into buildings or walking into others and thinking, "Hang on, this doesn't quite feel right. What's happening here?" People are having to feel it in order to heal it. And this is bubbling up. As we're moving from being carbon-based and we're moving into a crystalline structure, I think as our DNA changes and as we're growing, we are becoming more aware of everything that's around us. And I think that is the greatest gift that we have as humans, because at Earth School, we're here to learn. We've chosen to come to learn. And particularly like the waves of volunteers, because there have been waves. There's been 3 or 4 different waves of individuals that have come, and the second wave particularly, all the healers, the educators, and then we get the third wave, which are the ones that are the difficult ones that are here to make the change, to bring disclosure. And then the fourth wave is all the little new ones that we've got coming now, which are the ones that will deliver on the promise and deliver that energy to keep us all going, so that those of us that are going towards awakening and are prepared to take the risk, heal, do the shadow work, and go forward. The younger generation are the ones that will see it through to the totally a new way of us all living together peaceably. And I think that's the key thing, is ideally everybody on the earth, as well as those that are below the earth and those that are visiting earth, so the multidimensional creatures. I mean, we know that there is also in different areas there are these huge Black Panther type cryptids. I've only seen them twice, and I know, AKWANA, you've seen them quite a few times. But these huge cryptids, they live in the same dimension, but they come down to our dimension. They change their vibration. They move in and out of sight, which is good. So all of the creatures, as well as ourselves, as well as the elementals that were here first when they colonized Earth, as well as those that are beneath the Earth. So I know the ant people are not here anymore. I've only visited them once. And they had said, we will be leaving soon because of the king of the ant people. And I'd seen it only once, but they said, we will be leaving soon. And I think they left shortly after that, and it might have been one of the last visitors. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, brilliant. Wow. I love to hear JP's information on the ant people too. I know he made a video recently, JP, the great army insider, that shares a lot of information. I'm meeting with him today to record some updates and intel with Michael Sala, and also he has gifted a lot of information on the ant people. Visited them in, I think it was Pont de Leon, AKWANA. You know that area in Florida where there's an underground
Yes.
opening. Yes, yes. So AKWANA, the long-term heritage of your tribe, the Muscogee tribe in Florida, where were their intels and information on this current time, this kind of huge awakening and disclosure? What do they say about the long-term history that they've, known to be happening now?
So right now, I believe we are in kind of the the coming of the fifth world, which will entail a lot of chaos. Our beliefs were that we came out from under the ground, which is interesting. She talks about the ant people, but our legends and prophecies always said that when there's like major change and shifting that it's going to bring in this new wave, this new world, and that we will then be able to be protected and be kept safe by the star people that we come from. So that's kind of where the Creek Indians come from. I know that I believe it's the Hopi. They have their prophecy about the blue star coming in, and with the three-eye atlas and all that. I'm just saying, y'all, everything points to that prophecy coming true. So if for those who haven't heard about that, definitely look into it, because I think that's where we're at right now.
That's the Kachina, isn't it? Yeah. Interesting, though, that some of the sightings that have been had with the big, huge black panther is actually in Ponce de Leon, which is literally down the road from Bruce, which is where our corner is.
Yeah, she's huge. She is beautiful. I've seen her multiple times over the course of maybe 15 years, and I mean, on all fours. She's as tall as I am, or maybe about to there. And I don't have any good sense. I try to like go walking towards her, she just jets. But yeah, Bev did see her. I think once or twice while she was visiting. So we've got. I mean, this area. I think it's just a giant portal. We've got a lot of different beings, and I also would just like everybody to know, like, yes, we can all live in peace together. And just take these disclosures and the information that you're getting as just different pieces of the same puzzle. We all have different pieces. There's no one person that has all the pieces that they can be the only ones to be the ones of disclosure. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. So I think it's important to listen to everybody, to their opinions, and be discerning and make your own decisions about that.
Yeah, agreed.
Totally. So important. There isn't, I mean, even though we're told that it's called the universe, which basically translates to one voice, we are billions and billions and billions of beings with souls and light and love and frequency that are on this planet, in it, above it. And, many of our spacefaring brothers and sisters who are also part of the Matrix. And that is going to be a bit of a wake-up call to some people who put ETs, who are just people with better technology. That's it.
Right.
It does drive me fussy when people are like, oh, so and so, oh, father. Like, shut up. What are you doing? You are going into the same program that Earth has been trapped in, which is worshipping the Vatican, the church, those in science, the self-appointed, self-anointed. It's time to really expand our consciousness and awareness and really feel in to who we are, these magical, beautiful, brilliant beings that we are, and connect to our brothers and our sisters everywhere. And I love that all the prophecies are all kind of dovetailing into each other, and there's such an awakening at the same time, at the exact same time. And then things like, the Ukraine element, that Israel and Palestine, everything is being so focused on. And we have to be careful not to get caught up in all the disruptions and deliberate distractions. And if I read one more thing on Meghan Markle again, or the Kardashians, whatever, who cares?
Who cares?
Exactly.
Seriously.
I'm focused on trying to keep these plants alive. I love them.
You're doing well. They look incredible.
Oh, they're a bit straggly. I was in Thailand. I just got back from Thailand, and I think a couple are upset. I do.
Oh, just talk to them. Just talk to them. Just tell them I'm sorry, and they'll be okay.
Got names, and I touch them, and I love on them, and
So
it's
pretty.
really grown a lot since I was away last week. But yeah, I love being surrounded by them. Like, this is to me Oh, like I've always in the past generally always had like an like the earth behind me, which I'm also obsessed with, in space and an image, and then but I just in the last year I just feel like, oh, I just need the energy because they're alive. It's living, they're alive. They're alive.
Very,
You know,
it's alive.
it's
They're very healing as well.
yeah,
They
yeah,
are. They're
definitely,
very healing.
definitely. I just want to make sure because I know we sat down and we made notes of things that we all would like to discuss in this particular broadcast. But I think we've covered every element. Beverli Rhodes, is there anything? Oh, guess what? I just remembered. Beverli, guys out there watching, AKWANA, you know this. Whatever it is about Beverli Rhodes,
Um,
every single bloody broadcast, her face is frozen. Okay. But what tends to happen is she gets bumped off, and it's my mug that's like, how many times? Last time I
They
was
had your hair. You look like a flying nun. It was awesome.
my God. So I go like this, and then it freezes, and I'm on screen for ages, and I'm like, oh my God, like stop! It's a
I
shame.
pissed myself
It's
laughing.
oh
That was
so
so funny.
funny. So then we're at the end of our broadcast. I'm like, oh botheration! I've had Beverli on the big screen so much during this broadcast. I'm dreading watching it back with it.
oh dear.
It's
Oh
so
dear.
unattractive. No wonder I'm still single. But anyway, let's not go there. So we just do the best we can, guys. So sorry if my face is looking all deranged. And anyway, you beautiful girls, Beverli, let me just again come to you for anything else that you think we've missed that we want to talk about, or just bring this beautiful broadcast to a close and give your last thoughts.
Yeah, the last thoughts I think really are for individuals to start looking at what parts of yourself are you hiding away, because those parts of yourself are the ones that the light is going to shine on. So rather do the shadow work, look at what are you made of, where have you come from, what is it that you would like to leave as a legacy, and where is your energy going, because that's all happening now. It started with the 3I Atlas. So we've got all of that going forward, which is amazing. Use that energy. It's being beamed down to the earth through the sun. There's some of the energy in the sun coming out on the sun's rays. So use that energy. There's no point in hiding yourself anymore. There's no place to hide. Not really.
No.
Beautiful, beautiful. And AKWANA.
I just would encourage everybody to, as you said, do your shadow work, because the time of awakening and the time of the light, that's happening whether you do your shadow work or not.
Yeah.
So you might as well go ahead and have a look at those things that maybe you didn't want to address. And just also be aware constantly of your thoughts. If you're having negative thoughts, the thoughts become your words, which become your actions. Those ripple out. So always keep your thoughts, the things that you say, especially towards other people, keep them a higher vibration, and just don't hinder the ascension and what we're all going through right now. Just help out. Don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution, and just send out good energies at all times, and it'll make this transition a lot easier for everybody.
Beautiful, brilliant. Thank you, ladies. And I just want to say to everyone, like Beverli said also, do the shadow work. Now is the time. I really do have so much compassion and love for everyone, and especially, James Ring, and other people that will be so upset and hurt and affected. And the last time I saw him was September 19th, and he came to my event. Listen, at the time, I was in the middle of my outside event, okay, the Skywatch, and I had been promised that there were going to be 4 uncloaked craft. I was promised. And if you look at my last Jessic Roundtable, at the end of the video, it is clearly stated and promised that there will be 4 uncloaked craft. Anyway, for whatever reason, the whole thing didn't happen the way I was hoping, and other people were promised that it would. And so I was in the middle of a very I felt quite stressed because I wanted to really bring the beautiful audience the promise that, was made. And then James Ring is standing, handing out his flyer, right, to the audience who were leaving and going back to the hotel. And I mean, that was just what courage he had though to come, to the event and hand his flyer out and try and recruit the audience. But and anyway, so I ran into him and he had a bunch of yellow roses for me, and I took them from him, and we had a couple of words. And one of the things he said to me was, Dani, we really need to unify. We really do need to come together. And of course, he's right. And he also invited me to do a broadcast with him. But at that moment, at that second, I was dealing with, my own event, and I wish that I had taken him up on his offer. And so now I have to live with that regret that I didn't take him up on his offer. And I wish I'd been kinder in that moment to him also in the midst of all of that kind of stress. But I do send him love and everyone connected. And again, guys, let this just be, another reminder that we need to unify. We need to stop being a witch. And stop trying to divide people and attack people. And I've had my fair share of that in the past, and I'm definitely looking to make amends and continue disclosing and sharing people's information. So again, Beverli Rhodes, my love,
Thank you, Dani.
darling. Your details are underneath the broadcast, the connection. AKWANA, my darling, thank you so much. Again, your connections and details so people can get hold of you. And again, you guys will be at Miles Johnson's Bases Project conference on the 12th to the 14th of December in Pewsey, England. And Beverli will be speaking on the Sunday, and other great speakers will be speaking, over those previous days, including Brad Olson, Tina Bird, and I can't remember who else, I'm sorry. But there's a flyer. Miles Johnson's Bases Project thingy. All right. So thank you, guys.
Thank you,
so
Dani.
Guys. And so
thank you.
Oh, thank you. And sending love to everyone out there. Sending love from my heart to yours. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.